Hey guys, it's Subject Dam 1 again here with a new video for you guys, and today I'm going to be taking a look at some of my personal favorite video game box art from this console generation for RPGs. And I'm really happy in general to see more people talking about box art in the community because I love looking at box art and like various box art and stuff like that. Because as you know, I'm an artist too, so box art is something that's really important to me. Some people they might not care, but it's to me, it's not the idea of just the game itself, but it's the idea of the packaging and the presentation really encompasses everything about a game. So box art is really important to me, and there's some really gorgeous box art out there, even for this console generation. So it's kind of hard to limit it down. But I have 8 games I'm going to be showing. And I'm not talking about the games itself, so just a heads up in these games. I might mention about the games briefly, but it's more about talking about the artwork itself because I'm a strong believer in that these are just more than video game cover art. These are actually, some of these are works of art that are just absolutely beautiful. So what do you say we delve into it? Now the first cover I'm going to be showing is, I don't know how to do this because it's not necessarily the official cover that I'm showing. It's the alternate cover, and what I mean by that is a lot of games back then, or even some today, not only include artwork, the standard artwork, but they print on the inside of it, and they'll print like an alternative cover where you can flip around. And that's what I'm going to be showing here. Although I think the original artwork for this game is fantastic as well. But that is the cover art for Fragile Dreams, Farewell Ruins of the Moon. This is an alternative cover art that is actually on the inside. And even on the back here, we have some gorgeous art of the girl. In general, it's just a beautiful piece. If you look at it, it's got some gorgeous artwork. We have gorgeous coloring. There's kind of like a S kind of winding pattern with the arms and all that that kind of leads your eye and beautifully leads your eye through the actual artwork itself. The typography itself on the font is great, and it kind of summates the idea of like it being broken, which is reflecting the idea of the broken world in the game. And in general, this art is, I'm not sure who the artist is, but just a great use of like color variation and just a really delicate touch to it. Like everything just looks so beautifully soft. So fantastic, fantastic job there with Fragile Dreams, and even on the back with her as a lone figure, just a beautiful sight standing with all the lilies and stuff like that, and this intrigue that builds from these characters' bonds is just fantastic. So beautiful, beautiful piece of art there. And this next game I'm going to show is a game that I'm showing because I think the cover art is a little atypical. I'm a big fan of covers that are just atypical from standard what you would expect, especially in the RPG genre. A kind of staple or standard that you'll see is the cover art with all the characters on it and all that, or just one character. But to kind of break that convention and just put no character on the cover whatsoever, not even the main character, it's just really intriguing and really interesting. But this is a beautiful cover art, and that is of course the cover for Xenoblade Chronicles. Just beautiful, beautiful cover art here. And like I said, it kind of breaks the conventions of a typical cover. You don't have any of the characters on it. All you have is this blade standing in this beautiful field with this huge, huge titan overlooking it. And it just builds a huge sense of intrigue, and almost as if the Monado Blade itself is the actual main character, which after playing Xenoblade, I kind of do feel like the Monado Blade was a character in its own right. But that red of the blade set against the green of the grassy field, just really makes that blade pop out, and it's like the first thing that catches your eye. With the little piece of debris on that little lower right, or lower left, excuse me, corner, it's just like, what is that? Like, what is going on? Like, there's this beautiful, beautiful space, but yet there's this little hint, subtle hint of destruction. And it's like, what does that mean? And what is this huge hulking monolith, this titan, what does this mean to that's just overlooking and standing there as like a guardian or something? Beautiful, beautiful presentation, just kind of lensed. And the grassy field itself just looks absolutely expansive, which the game is a very expansive game too. So just a beautiful presentation. I think kind of sums up Xenoblade very well without having to use characters, which is actually a pretty challenging feat to do. So definitely Xenoblade Chronicles has some beautiful, beautiful, interesting, different cover art. And this next game I'm going to show is another PSP game, but it's a beautiful example of a simplistic cover done right. and I really like it. And that is the cover for The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky. Now the reason I like this cover a lot is because we only have two of the main figures, which are two of the most important characters in the game. But the fact that the main character itself, like I said, I like when they try and break conventions of typical cover art, but we have the main character on here, but the main character is not facing us. We have the main character's back turned towards us, and we can't even see the main character's face. So that's a unique little kind of just touch right there that just most you don't see in most cover art. And it kind of builds this sense of intrigue in that character, like I want to know who this mysterious girl is, because I can't see her face. I don't know what she looks like. All I know is that her hair is like flowing in the wind, and that there's a sense of like a breeze in the cover, and that there's this intrigue and this little flying craft that's out there, and like, what does that mean? Like, this world obviously looks like it has a big emphasis on the sky and all that, but just soft look to it, the beautiful blues used with the contrast of that blue used against her Estelle's red kind of shirt and all that really makes her pop. And then obviously you have that other character there down in the bottom right, and he's just kind of looking off in the opposite direction, which builds even more intrigue, because it's like, how come he's not looking at the same thing that she's looking at? He's looking at something else, and he's just kind of, there's no sense of like emotion on his face or nothing. So that's just it's a very overall very intriguing cover that just sparks a lot of intrigue from the viewer and just intrigue in general to know these characters more. So in that sense, Trails in the Sky just has a really interesting minimalist cover that evokes a lot of various other elements. And the next cover I'd like to take a look at is a cover from one of my personal favorite video game artists. He's known for doing the artwork for the Atelier series, which I'm a big fan of the artwork for the Atelier series. But that is Mel Kishida. And I think his personal best work that he did when he did the Arlen trilogy was actually this game right here. And that is Atelier Toturi. And this is just an absolutely stunning, simplistic cover, a nice follow-up to Trails in the Sky. Again, we have another kind of minimalist cover where we do have the main character, but again, it's kind of a sense of space between the viewer and the actual character. Like, I don't feel connected to her because she's looking at something else, obviously, and it looks like she's got that look on her face like there's something I'm thinking about right now, there's something really important I gotta do that's on my mind. And it's just a sense of like longing for something, and we have this beautiful kind of like beautiful simplistic cityscape in the background, which is gorgeous and kind of contrasts her really well, gives some separation there, but it kind of builds intrigue in this land in general, and just overall really soft. Like, again, the reason I like Mel Kishida is because he's got a really beautiful delicacy to his like craftsmanship in general. Like, he's got a really soft touch to it. You can tell he likes to blend colors a lot, which lends really well. It looks gorgeous. So I love his attention to detail and his sense of delicacy that he puts into his brushwork and whatnot. So just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. And I'm also a big fan of the limited edition artwork as well, because the limited edition featured very different artwork. And again, we'll just look at the limited edition. We have Toturi, obviously the main character, who's actually going about the alchemy process, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous cover as well, because we have a lot of like popping colors of pinks and blues and greens, and just really contrast beautifully well, high saturation, and just the cover just screams color, man. It's just super, super pretty and really pops. So in general, yeah, I'm a big fan of Mel Kishida, and I'm a big fan of his Atelier artwork that he's done over the years. So he's just got a really delicate style that I really love. So, and particularly Toturi, I really love this cover. So, and again, we have another wonderful cover art. This one's for the DS, and honestly for one of the best RPGs on the system itself. But that is the cover art for Radiant Historia. This is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Again, it's kind of lends to like the typical conventions of RPG cover art, and that we have the cast of characters on the cover, but it's just crafted so well. Like, this is extremely high quality. First of all, there's just beautiful, again, kind of similar to Mel Kishida actually. Whoever this artist is has like a beautiful attention to detail and just a really soft touch, and it looks like he really loves to blend. but there's a great sense of like simplistic color scheme. We don't have too many like super popping colors, but we have the red of the main character, and that kind of sets off the middle. But just the attention to detail and the facial expressions are just really incredible. That all these characters have varying facial expressions, which kind of means that this cast of characters is different from one another, and just beautifully, beautifully blended. Like it's just blended superbly, and there's some great attention to detail on the actual character design themselves, and it's just lends to a really beautiful cover with just absolutely stunning character design. So I am a huge, huge fan of the cover for Radiant Historia. Now I can't do a favorite video game box art without having to mention these guys. I'm a big fan of the people who work at Department Heaven and their style of games and how they present their games. They just have a unique style, like unlike any other. And Department Heaven's referring to like Yugager Union, Riviera, Gungnir, and the game I'm about to talk about right now. But that is a beautiful cover for Knights in the Nightmare on the DS. This is just absolutely stunning. Like, I don't know where to begin with this. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous cover in so many different aspects. First of all, we have the character itself, the main character in the middle, but we have this like pole that kind of cuts off at an angle, and it kind of separates it. Very interesting. That like pole really sets off the cover because it's just so interesting to cut it off, and it's like a flag of war. But the attention to detail is staggering in this cover. Like, just look at some of this high attention to detail. The subtle things like little crafts and little like designs in the gauntlets and like all the armor is just astonishing. Even the sword looks incredible and like it's worn down. And we have this unique little castle in the background that's like so interesting, it's so sharp, with this interesting little moon in the background. And it's just the use of color is kind of simplistic. It has a really simplistic kind of scheme to it, but the use of color is brilliant because we have these soft little reds and golden yellows with all this high contrast of the black and the shadows and stuff like that. The use of shadows is fantastic. It just incredible attention to detail, incredible craftsmanship was put into this. Whoever this artist is deserves a lot of credit because this is some of the best character design I've seen like in a long time, and it's just incredible. So definitely a huge fan of Knights in the Nightmare. The cover is just absolutely beautiful and just one of my all-time favorites. And this next game I'm going to take a look at is honestly one of my all-time favorite cover arts. When I saw this cover art, I was like, that is a beautiful piece of art right there. That is gorgeous, and for so many reasons. But that is a great cover for Fire Emblem Awakening. So yeah, where do I begin with this? Well, first of all, we have a dynamic composition, which we don't see too much in game cover art in general. For some reason, I can't comprehend it, but there's not a use of dynamic compositions out there, and what creates dynamic compositions is diagonals. And we have lots and lots of diagonals in this cover. The fact that all of these characters, we have the whole cast of characters, and all of them are moving at the slanted diagonal like they're charging into battle or something. But yet we have a sense of intrigue with this mysterious masked character who's moving the opposite direction. What is that character moving towards, and why is that character moving the opposite way? There's also a sense of even further intrigue with the use of the two main characters here using the same sword, and that builds even more intrigue. And the characters really pop. These two main characters, the masked character and Crom himself, have more saturation than all the background characters, so it really helps to bring them into the foreground and really makes them pop out more than everyone else. But just the subtle delicacy to like the character design itself is absolutely astonishing, beautiful. The gray really helps as a background color, helps keep it like muted in the back, but helps all these subtle use of colors pop even more. But it's fantastic, and even a little hidden Easter egg, which I don't know if a lot of people catch, is the fact that everyone's face is clearly visible except for one character who has his face obstructed. And if you know that character, you would see that the only character who you can't see their face is Kellum. And if you know Fire Emblem Awakening, if you played it, you would know that Kellum is actually known as the Shy Guy in the game. So it's ironic that like here's the character and he's like cover shy on being in this video game or something. He doesn't want his face on the cover, so that's really interesting right there too. So it adds even more elements to it. So overall, just beautiful, beautiful presentation, beautiful use of like a minimalistic color scheme. With that use of the red, really helps pop all the other colors around it. So beautiful, beautiful dynamic composition. It's just gorgeously done. The artist who did this deserves a lot of credit. It's just put together masterfully, and there's a lot of elements of like art there that's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. One of my all-time favorite covers, Fire Emblem Awakening. So there you have it. That is some of my favorite video game box art from this current generation of RPGs. And I'm a big fan of RPGs, but in general, I'm just a big fan of artwork in general. And I'm a strong believer in that. Not just RPGs, not just this generation, but video games in general from all generations. There's a lot of gorgeous pieces of art, as we call it, for cover art. It's art, and some of it's just absolutely stunning and beautiful and just subtle. And that's what I mean. That so many people may not care about cover art or whatever, it's just another facet to it. But to me, it really encompasses the package as a whole and really stands alone as this artist, some of these artists' hard work for months, even years, that went into some of these cover designs is just incredible. And as a fellow artist, I extremely appreciate what some of these artists out there do for some of these video games. It's just beautiful. So there you have it. There's so many more video game covers I wish I could talk about, but hey, maybe I'll make some more videos talking about video game box art, because you know me, I love to talk about some art. I love to talk about some video games, so it goes perfectly together for me. So anyways, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.